Alright, now that audio's fixed, before introductions today, this is going to be Exhibit A, If There Is an Afterlife and I Am on Trial. I have done the horribleness of combining Storm and Tron together. Yes, feel free to boo, bell, whatever, it's happening. So, what is this deck doing? We are going to be casting a ton of cheap artifacts, drawing our entire deck, and hopefully winning with Laboratory Maniac. To start, we are a slow combo, we are reliant on a lot of pieces, we are very deterministic, but opponent just has to sit there and basically do nothing. If we're allowed to goldfish, we'll probably take the win. I'm expecting this to do horrible, and on this stream, we have a sort of understood rule of if a deck does horrible enough, like Oops All Leylines attempted to be in Modern, we Bell and Narset Cannon. So that's something to look forward to if this goes horribly, but if it goes well, it's going to be because we accomplish our game plan, which is Neugin. Yes, that is his name. I don't want to hear Ugin the Ineffable. No, he's Neugin. Neugin will make it so that all of our colorless spells cost 2 less. The rest of his text is basically worthless. We do get the ability to pseudo draw a card, put out a pseudo chump blocker. We can destroy a problem permanent. That's colors. Damping Sphere is going to be our absolute worst nightmare in this deck. We don't really have a way to deal with that. I tried looking at putting Nature's Claims in or whatever. Like, we have a Hercule's Recall, but that's not going to do anything. But Neugin. The important text is colorless spells cost 2 less. Then we get to run Jorah. She is going to make it so that if we cast a historic spell, i.e. Ugin, or any of the artifacts he's making cheaper, we get to draw a card. And Vidalcan Archmage. Of note. Yeah, but it's janky Darkside Seraphix. But Vidalcan Archmage won't make it so that we draw off of Ugin, but we will draw whenever we cast an artifact spell. Then we have Ethereum Sculptor doing its best Neugin impersonation, although it's the OG. I had Thopter Foundry for a little while, but honestly, he's a 2-mana creature. We don't have a ton of creatures. They're probably going to die. We end up running the full suite of Chromatic Stars, Chromatic Spheres. We also get Mind Stone. Keep in mind, when Neugin is out, Mind Stone comes out for free, taps for mana, lets us sack all of our artifacts. Just a lot of powerful effects here. If we get a board state going, it's kind of powerful. Then on the bottom end, yeah. Again, if there is an afterlife and I'm up for judgment, they're going to be like, you tried to combine Storm and Tron. That's just going to be the end statement there. But we do get Walkie B. In Goldfishing, I had at one point him costing 7 less. It was amazing. Also, Laboratory Maniac. We're going to draw our entire deck. If opponent lets us do our own thing, we untap with the Neugin out. We're going to win that turn, pretty much guaranteed. We also get Gearport Aether Grid. Essentially, if we have all those stars and spheres, we can tap down our artifacts, ping things. We can take the slow ping win. Walking Ballista can actually just shoot. There's a lot of different lines. If we take a look at the deck tech, we end up getting Storm the Vault, which is just hilarious. Oh, it didn't come up. Well, we do have a Storm the Vault. Dual face cards are still a pain. I haven't actually sat down to try to figure out how to fix them in the code because there's issues with transform, split, flip, just all the horrible things. But we get Arch of Vraska, we get Storm the Vault, which is a Tolarian Academy. We can just tap for a lot of mana, do a ton of things. We hit Tron, we get a ton of mana, and most of the deck is colorless, so yeah, we're going to do some stupid stuff. And this is what our hands look like. We have 2 of our 20 lands, we have multiple cantrips, we have a little bit of mana ramp, and we have a Neugin. So, opponent, don't interact with us. Just sit there and miss mana drops. Let us do fun things. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Alright, well, okay, so this is probably a Narset deck. We can't deal with Narset. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Ooh, that's a really interesting one. I think I'm going to start cantripping. It's the best thing that we can do. I'm going to pretend like I'm normal Tron. Yeah, that's great. That's really great. We look like we have natural Tron. We actually kind of have natural... No, I mean Expedition map means not natural Tron. Running out the sphere here, non-zero chance of getting surgicaled. It's not likely, but it's not zero. So if I have to crack Expedition map, that means I've got Mind Stone, Chromatic Star. If I just naturally draw the mine, I can Neugin and start storming. Although I don't have a card draw. Opponent is doing some interesting stuff over there. So for those of you that didn't play in Cons, Myth Realized lets you turn this into a creature equal to the number of non-creature spells you've cast before it, is the short version. Thought Scours fill in their graveyard. They've shown us a Snapcaster Mage. Alright, well, I think that means I go for Tron here. Gotta get a mine. And we have done a fantastic job of looking like natural Tron, so I'm going to keep that up and not show the Mind Stone. Mind Stone's going to be free regardless anyways. Walking Bliss is kind of relevant, but Mind Stone, Star, Mind Stone, Star, Star. I could actually sacrifice it this turn as opposed to just running out Mind Stone. This is going to be free after Neugin, so treasure map. Alright, well, that's honestly not a terrible play after Neugin. But it is worth noting, if we were a good deck and we actually were just playing Tron, we'd have Karn next turn. Instead, we have Neugin and no way to continue drawing cards. Opponent's Myth Realized is currently a 4/4 if they decide to activate it. It only costs a white to activate. Yep, they're getting their damage in. And there's our blue source, which is actually quite good. Well, they didn't leave any mana open. I'm not afraid of interactions, so I'm just going to start running my stuff out. I still would love to find an Archmage or a Jorah. We get a free treasure map, a free Mind Stone, and opponent's going to start wondering what the heck just happened. Star is free, but it's not going to cantrip us yet, so I'm going to put it on the bottom. I don't necessarily want to show the blue yet. I can run out a chump blocker for free pretty easily. Arch of Vraska is a good way to start drawing cards in the near future. So I can cycle the Mind Stone, or I can just Walkie B for 2. Walkie B for 2 is going to make it really hard for them to do anything productive on the ground. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Costs 2 less. Because I'm going to have 2 blockers for it, and it's not posing a threat to me yet. Like, they could potentially Supreme Verdict, but they still can't attack. Meanwhile, I have 2 chump blockers. They basically have to keep this one back. Yeah, Neugin making our entire deck cost significantly less is actually really the core strategy here. Again, we could have just Karned and won the game. So we're calling this a fun deck. Alright, well that's sad. I am going to make it so that they can't gain life, though. This not having a target is going to counter it by game rules, so they won't gain their life. They do get the counters because they cast it, though. And that means that they have to have another white source or something that can deal with the spirit. It looks like they do not. So the Myth's still not getting in this turn. And I actually want to set an upkeep stop so that I can scry with the treasure map. I don't currently have an artifact to start chaining. Although them giving me Arch means I'm going to have multiple draws. Going after Neugin, huh? Alright, well, I'll draw my Arch. So I get a scry. Oh, if I scry, I might have to pop the Mind Stone. Oh well. Yeah, I honestly don't care about another Mind Stone. Alright, expedition map isn't the worst, so I currently can arch and draw, put out another chump blocker. I think I'm just on destroy this for now. And I'm realizing I probably should have put in the Kalani Hard Expedition, or whatever, where I can actually get a creature off of a land drop. Honestly, I didn't know where to go with this deck. Again, I'm so lost on if I actually want to make this deck work or not. It's just missing something. If I had a Joyer, though, I could pretty much just start storming off. But in the meantime, I guess this can go get something. Bye, Neugin. You tried. I'm also 3 permanents away from City's Blessing. Not ideal. Opponent is getting these myth realized up, though. I'm expecting a mentor out of opponent. Either that or a young pyromancer. Yep, I take beats for 5. I tapped the wrong land. Oh well. So, utility lands that we get. We have another Arch of Araska. We currently have 0 colored mana sources, so I actually think I'm grabbing Cascade Bluffs here. Just so I can actually filter into casting something. I get to do my scry, so 4 or 5. Yeah, I can do it with this guy. And that can go on bottom. I'm just looking for something a little bit more permanent. Another Neugin's not bad. It means I get to cast this guy, blow up their Mithrilize, get rid of their board state. Why am I in combat? No. Did I remove my... I removed my main... The punts are real. Alright, Neugin comes down. We get a blow up myth realized. We have the City's Blessing now, which means we can start drawing. Cascade Bluffs will give us all of the mana sources that we need. Check to see if opponent has the Bolt. Maybe not, but potentially a Snapcaster or another Helix. Yep, there's a Bolt. You got it, opponent. Whatever you say. Don't need that stop no more. And Ethereum Sculptor is actually interesting here. It's going to be an artifact, so I can start cantripping if I find what I actually want. In the meantime, though, we get to start drawing multiple cards a turn. And that means I'm not sacking any more treasures unless I absolutely have to. Opponent's representing a Cryptic command here, so... I can wait on the Aether Grid. I've actually got 2 of these guys. I can just dump mana into the Arch, draw, and still hold up just about everything. Yeah, that seems best. Bluffs work off the treasure, so they technically do work. Although that's a pretty good point. If I want to dump mana into this Aether Grid, I have to do it this way. So, let's do that. Pay with the colorless. Cryptic it! You know you want to, opponent. I only have 2 treasures, but you want to Cryptic it. I know you do. And for now, I guess this can come out just as another thing to tap. If we were real Tron, we would have won by now. Well, I got the read right. Cryptic draw. Yeah, seems pretty appropriate. I think they realized what we're trying to do, though. They did think that was important. We are on our last Neugin. But we have enough mana that this Walking Ballista is quite relevant. Tap 2. We're going to hit you by tapping these 2 treasures. Ping, ping. Yeah, probably. Alright, well, we get an Arch again with all the mana. Another tower is not bad, but not really what I want to see here. How much can I dump into this walking ballista? 4? That's fine. I'm willing to check to see if they have another counter. Oh, you don't have another counter. That's not going to work out great for you, opponent. Where are our draw spells? We have 5 in the bottom half of our deck. Not cool, dude. Always with the removal. And we have our last basic in hand. The most correct play here is actually to tap down the walking ballista. Or I shot walking ballista? Damn you, Moto. Alright. I'll give that one to myself. So opponent gets to Helix me. They are technically a burn deck. Yeah, I don't think I can sack the last treasure. If I whiff again, I have to use that to ping the Snapcaster. Yeah, I go down to double bolt range. It's not like I'm happy about it. Alright, Prism's a start. Gets to be a redraw for another tower. Alright, so let's draw. Another walking ballista is fine, so I guess we just go all out and check opponent. Walkie B for 5. I'm hanging on to this Neugin because I want a combo kill. Ugh. Alright, so they get Cryptic back. I'm taking another hit for 4. Well, it's not like they're going to have a mana leak. Why wouldn't I just dump all 5 into it? Were you saying that I should Neugin and then Walking Ballista for 3? Or just this deck, because I will concede this deck is insanely greedy. Thing in the ice? What is going on over there? Is this a Phoenix deck? Well, Walking Ballista coming out last turn would have actually killed them this turn, which is the primary consideration. Alright, well I guess we're on Neugin now. Did you draw another counterspell, opponent? Oh my gosh, did you seriously get a 5-mana counterspell? Okay, it's not. They put a card on bottom. They found a cryptic command. Amazing. Alright. So this means I get to kill Snappy Boy. I guess activate Arch. Nope. I might need to draw. So with this, Finally, I honestly don't know if I want to show this to opponent now because they can just flip it and kill me. So let's go ahead and draw. Okay, so opponent just drew a blind card. They're going to draw a blind card for turn. What are the odds that they hit 2 spells this turn? Because if I run out Jorah here, I basically get to kill opponent next turn. I'll be able to draw 2 cards and start storming off with a ton of mana. I don't even need Neugin. I'm at 28. Alright, well, let's just see if opponent can kill me. I think they know what the deck is doing, so... Do your worst, opponent. If it's a bolt, it's not good enough. If there's a land in there and not a cantrip, I'm probably taking it. Alright, Myth Realized is not a thing. Opt could be a thing. Put a card on bottom. And a Bedlam Reveler. Okay, I can still win through a Bedlam Reveler as long as they don't have another spell. One's a land, but they have mana for it. Helix, so game. Yep. Alright. So, opponent is non-creature tribal. First and foremost, Lodestone Golem comes in. A lot of our spells are artifacts, so we can trim on Storm the Vault. As cute as the Talaria Academy is on the backside, it's kind of hard to flip this, and 4 mana, especially 2 double-colored, and a Tron deck that has 2 basics is quite hard. Witchbane Orb is quite good against burn decks. Aether Grid's probably actually going to eat a Needle here. Hurkyl's Recall is a little cute, but this is in here for hardened spells. Another Aether Grid's not bad, but again, I think it's getting needled. I can blast to kill a Bedlam Reveler or a Titty, but I don't think that's the correct line. Antiquities War, I'm expecting some kind of Tron hate, so this might allow me to attack in through whatever opponent's doing. That means a lot of cuts. Basically, I was picturing Antiquities War comes in, Labman comes out. This is going to allow me to kill with treasure maps and treasures and spheres, where this is going to require me to draw my entire deck. Ugin's still quite good. Walking Blessed is still fine. The Archmage is cute. Just going to dead a Bolt. Is an artifact, hard to cast. I need to make a lot of cuts. Ugh. I don't even know what else. We have a lot of awkward cards. Am I just taking this out and planning on winning with Antiquities War and Lodestone? I mean, Lodestone dying to Bolt is awful. I think she needs to stay in. She's just way too good. Treasure Map can probably come out. We're not going to be looking to filtering. And Relic's still relevant. Maybe just a Mind Stone. Awkward collection of cards. Submit for round 2. Again, when I started this, I did say we have an unspoken rule that if things go horribly, we can always Bell and Narset Cannon. But I think there were some horrendous odds there not seeing the... This is everything we want in our deck. It's 1 land, but I'm on the draw. I have multiple cantrips to get there. We didn't see a single one of... Oh, we're on the play. Derp, derp. We didn't see a single one of our Jorahs or Archmages in the top half of our deck, and that just was so unlucky. Land? Not a land. Alright. Well, on the plus side, this might be a quick one. Yep. So that shuts off most of our deck. I'm just moving on. Again, there's a huge consideration there to put in Nature's Claims, but that would require splashing green in a primarily colorless deck. I didn't have high hopes for this one. But it's fun. We did Tron and Storm, and people's going to hate both halves of that. Alright, this is not a one-lander we can keep. This is... This is a turn 5 Neugin? Whatever. Don't need a redundant mine. And another deck with Stony Silence on the side. Alright. Well, we get to confuse our opponent with the turn 2 Izzet Signet after 2 Tron lands. I'm expecting a Remand or a... I guess not a Logic Knot. I'd prefer Treasure Map actually stick versus this deck. V-clicking me? Oh, opponent, you're in for a surprise. And funny enough, they don't want us to draw into our Tron land, so they probably aren't going to take anything. I'm about to just open chat on the side. I'm expecting something to be coming. But Neugin. If the opponent's smart, they'll recognize that Neugin makes both of these free. They took the Archmage. Okay. So I can have 4 mana this turn, which makes me want to lead on Chromatic Star. And mine first. Oh, I shouldn't have ran out my land drop. That was a misplay. By running out my land drop, I took away the out of drawing into a power plant off the star and having Tron for my other land, but yeah, whatever. Mindstone isn't awful, but Treasure Map's better. And I have nothing to represent, so yeah. I'll take Tron. I like Tron off the top. Unfortunately, now the opponent does have Cryptic mana, or they're just going for Jace. Oh, opponent, that's not very nice. Scry Tron to the top, you Jace Fate Seal, not cool, dude. Actually, so I'll have 5 mana, I'm 1 off. Yeah, I have to scry. And it's most correct to do it with the mine because it taps for the least if I hit Tron. That is something I'm very happy to resolve against the control list, so we can go ahead and hang on to that. Then, fill turn to manas. There's a Joyra. Go. You get to unsummon it, but if I hit any land now, I get to Neugin. And if I Neugin, I empty my hand and draw cards. Oh, even if I don't hit a land, I'll just flip Treasure Map and need a couple of tokens. Active Jace is never where you want to be, but we actually technically have a shot here. That actually doesn't do much. Every time I've seen this lately, I've just been like, oh, I'm screwed, but that actually doesn't do a ton. I think smart play here is bounce Joyra. Bounce Treasure Map. Okay, I guess I can't really fault you for that one. And you're getting in, so they probably have a path. Yep. As expected, go get my island. Aether Grid. How much of this can I actually pull off? So, opponent can't spell snare this. I think first things first, I've got an Aether Grid. Although I don't have the mana to do it that way. So I can star, sack, star, treasure map. Oh boy, none of this is awesome. I can't kill Teferi off the Aether Grid this turn. So I can Mind Stone, run out Aether Grid, and Sphere, but everything's tapped. This is why we can't have nice things. But if I untap, I get to kill the V-Click. Or I think if I run out map after this, I can still kill Teferi. Opponent has an active Jace, so we've only got a turn or two to actually resolve this Neugin and try to do something with it. Basically, right now, our only out is we can run out Neugin, and they don't have counter magic with 6 cards in hand while looking at the top 8. Honestly, that's still fine. Yes, it's frustrating, but it's fine. Okay, so they did not leave up Cryptic, which means I still technically have a shot here. Destroy Jace. Free treasure map. We get a Scry with treasure map. No way to like, it's free and it cycles and it'll draw me a new card, but I may as well just see something else. That means I can sack this with the remaining mana. Star doesn't really do a whole lot, but it's free, so it can come out. Get to cycle this dude. Power plant doesn't do anything. We get to cycle this dude. Free. Free cycle. Sculptor, but it doesn't do anything. So they're going to be able to kill Neugin now. Yeah, I think we've just fallen too far behind. We got a little bit there, but we need a utility land now. We needed a way to draw cards while we were cycling through all those. Basically, if we could have had our engine of Joyra before she got exiled and done all that cantripping, we'd be like 7 more cards deep. Honestly, that's okay. Haha! Got you, opponent. But like topping, decking, and Neugin doesn't do anything. I think we're on top deck and... yeah, I think we're just out. I mean, we still technically get to keep going. Although, in response to this trigger, I should have done this upkeep. I gotta do it now, though. Walking Ballista is a thing. It's actually one of the best things we can do. Do you have Cryptic? Yeah. If this doesn't resolve, we gotta go to game 2 where they have Stony Silence. If this resolves, they get to clear their board. Okay, that's nice. Bye. Bye. Okay, that caught us up. How long did they have an active Jace? Because it feels like they've had it for a while. And we get untap with 11, 13, 14, 15, 16 mana. Supreme Verdict for a single counter Walking Ballista. I mean, opponent had to do it. Nice thing too was they could do that instant speed with Teferi. This time I'm actually setting an upkeep stop so I can scry with the treasure map. And I can hang on to that. So, question is it safer in hand or on the field? I think against this deck it's safer in the hand. So, ship it back. We have an active treasure map now, which means we're going to draw 3 cards, basically whenever we feel like it. This Archmage is at least going to replace itself if they're holding on to a cantrip. They do technically have Colonnade. We're dead in 2 turns. That's worth noting. Yep. But we can at least say we put up a fight. That Walkie Bee did a lot of work. And that Walkie Bee's gonna continue his brother's legacy. Okay, so I need to do this for 4, preferably 5. I'm not a fan of needing to use the Signet there, but I'm going to try to draw a card off of the Treasure Cove. Yep, as expected. There's nothing to go get, so I'm not going to bother. We got to draw the replacement card. There's our win condition, which isn't a great win condition at the moment. But going to get some card advantage back versus a blue-white deck. Relic and Popping Relic is actually quite good for us here. So we get to clear out their graveyard, which means that Snapcaster is less effective. And unfortunately, the timing here is... I guess they only have mana for Snapcaster, so that's fine. It's more correct to wait for them to Snapcaster it and then pop the Relic, but... we are in a kind of loose position, so... hopefully this means if they try to attack in with Colonnade, we can hit it. If they have removal, we're just dead. Yep. So right now, opponent's trying to figure out if it's correct to tuck the Walking Ballista and let me kill, or try to draw into removal. I think they've already used 3 paths. Okay, just 2. But they're going to put this 3rd from the top, which means we're going to draw for turn. We're going to draw off of the Treasure Cove. And I actually do want to draw this Walking Ballista again, so I'm going to let the last one go. If we hit any of our cantrips here, we get Walking Ballista back. Like that. Although I accidentally clicked through all of that. Sack a treasure, draw a card. So Sculptor's technically free here. That makes Star free. We get to cycle the straw. The star, not the straw. It's a star. And that gets us back up into Walkie Bee territory. And if opponent has counter magic, they have counter magic. I might want to leave up enough for a... yeah, so I need to take out a couple of these. If we do it for this, they can logic not for 2. And I can pay for that. So big Walkie Bee. Oh, it costs 1 less. So I can still pay for 2 this way and get an 8/8. Awesome. All right. Tron Storm, everybody. We're not doing what we want to, but we have an 8/8 walk. We won! I didn't think we were going to win that one. I'm so happy. All right. That means Antiquities War comes in. Lodestone Golem's not very good. Witchbane Orb isn't very good. We want basically anything that can cantrip. Storm the Vault is cute here. I don't really think that I want it. It's just a little expensive. As far as last cut, maybe just they've got to keep in the removal, but I'm guessing Ethereum Sculptor is one of our weakest draws. made a big walking ballista. I feel so honored. They tucked it, and then we just redrew it and made it bigger. Alright, so I think we are 0-2 at the given moment, though. I'm so bad at updating my record. We did steal a game versus blue-white control. I think anybody who stuck around up until this point is aware that this deck is just awful. Like, it is so bad, but... I think I have to keep this. But it's meant to be fun, and it's combining two really busted stereotypes to try to make people mad. Stony Silence is gonna hurt, but I'm gonna start with like Gemstone Caverns. Alright, your go, opponent. It may have been more correct there to run out Relic and just keep opponent's graveyard in check. They didn't show us anything other than a couple of Snapcasters, so I'm not overly concerned, but this allows me to start scrying on my upkeep. Like, I'm good with a star, it just recycles itself. So, I've said it before, logic with Relic is if, for whatever reason, an opponent wants a Flooded Strand in their graveyard, like they brought in Crucible of Worlds against us to buy back their reliquaries or something, like, you don't want to give them the option, you want to try to eat that before they put a spell in. Spells are typically more valuable, but if opponent's getting an option either way, you just want to eat it. Now I get to use this to scry and then have Tron. I need that eventually, so I'll hang on to it. Yeah, you do you, opponent. Yeah, take my Joyra. I have 2 cantrips on the table and Tron, so I'm not exactly hurting. Opponent, that actually might have been just a horrible decision for you. So this is for 6, which means I can crack this first. Oh, I love this deck. So it was mana neutral. I was either going to burn 1 mana of the 7, or I was going to be able to run out Mind Stone into Walking Ballista here. Same size, kill their V-Click. Turn off auto yields. Nope. I want to eat your V-Click. No click for you. Alright, so opponent's looking for an answer. They can't just jam Jace this time around. So there are actually multiple colored spells I want to draw into, so I'm going to actually use my Mind Stone here. I'm thinking it's least likely that I sacrifice that. I don't have a cantripper. Another Walking Ballista is not bad. Again, it's safer in my hand against blue-white, so I'm going to get some damage in, completely roided up. We have a really weird engine for getting things going. I should have actually eaten the Serum Visions there. It's not as relevant, but it's still better practice. Ashiok? Okay, well, we don't actually search with anything except for the 2 expedition maps, and you can feel free to mill me all day. Are they still... Okay, well, I guess that actually can hit our Lab Maniac, but other than that, it's not overly relevant. Relic is technically live as long as they have Snapcaster in their deck, so I'll keep it around. What's math here? So I can put 3 counters on and leave them at 1. Or I can make this a 5/5. Okay, so that's game. Okay, attack opponent. Then make another giant walking ballista, shoot opponent to death, and we stole one! Who thought we were going to steal one? I did not. I really did not. We stole one! Twitch chat is apparently not as happy that we stole one. They must have had higher hopes and dreams for this than I did. And control of all things. Well, we took it against control of all things. Oh, I'm not horrible at my record. That first game just felt long and painful. Alright, so we are technically 1-1. Doing significantly better than I thought. What I did learn, though, is Stony Silence is a really good card when your entire deck is artifacts that cantrip. Funny enough, when I was playtesting and trying to goldfish and figure out what I was doing, I realized that with Darksteel Citadel, and that's the reason it's not in the deck. It made synergy for tapping our Darksteel Citadel with the Garapor Aether Grid, and it gave us a target to tutor up with the Expedition map, but getting turned off by Stony Silence felt like it was so bad for our deck that I ended up trimming them. We're also running 20 lands, which feels insanely light, but when we're drawing that many cards a turn, it felt like it was okay. But we won one. Clearly I'm humoring myself. I would love to play first. Thank you for asking. Okay, this is slightly awkward. Turn 2 Walking Ballista into a turn 3 Walking Ballista into our engine. I think we keep that. We technically don't need Tron for this deck to work. And we also get to confuse the crap out of our opponents with a Cascade Bluffs into a Chromatic Sphere. We look like such an EDH deck. Just random one-ofs. But there's a thought there. A thought did go into this. Another... So much blue-white. Alright, so first things first... It's more correct to sack that first, just because if I did get a Tron land, I'd want to cast it. And I actually think I Prism here. I want to be able to hit my land drop next turn. And this will get me a card deeper. Having a 1/1 Walking Ballista isn't very relevant. Mind Stone's mildly relevant. Alright, there's an Iskanta on the field. Whew, boy. Well, that hurts right in the feels. So I think that's just Mind Stone pass. I mean, there's not much else I can do. Land drops would be nice. A land drop here is going to give me Archmage into pretty much nothing. I need Tron lands deck. I believe in you. Yeah, a little late for the Spell Snare. It's actually insanely good against our deck, but a little late. So it may have been correct to wait until I had the Archmage out so that the Star King cantrip, but I am very set on actually hitting my land drops here. And that's not a land drop. I cannot sacrifice my Mind Stone yet, so 1/1 Walking Ballista is going to go get the job done. Yay deck! Yay mana issues! Snapcaster for Spell Snare. Alright. That's some good value, opponent. It is. I mean, 20 lands is light, especially when you're a land deck, but we've been cantripping, like we're 13 cards in, and we've only seen 2. I mean, statistics for 20 lands would say 13 cards in is probably around 6 lands, though? No, that's not right. So that would be 7 for every 20. So we should be at least 3 or 4, but we're at least within variance. Alright, and opponent is representing Cryptic here, and this Field of Ruin can target the power plant. I don't like any of this. Well, I can't use Aether Grid the same turn it comes down. I can Archmage, but opponent's probably squatting on bolts and paths. I think I'm just on Walking Ballista for 2, as awkward as that sounds, but it'll allow me to kill the Snapcaster or fish out the Cryptic. Because they're just waiting to Cryptic me. It's also possible they just let this go and field my Tron land. Okay, well, it's not Cryptic. But it might be field into Bolt. Okay, well, I mean, I guess you get to opt again, but that's going to let me cash out for the Snapcaster halves. There's been a lot of blue-white tonight, though. It's not overly weird. Snapcaster half isn't very relevant, especially when they're looking at our deck and realizing we're big mana. Like, this is too slow of a clock. If they didn't actually have the counter magic for Walking Ballista, it makes sense that they'd just be like, let's get my value on. They're potentially, like, since now we're tapped out and we're not representing a blue deck, they could potentially be trying to land Teferi or Jace here and protect it behind the 2 Snapcaster halves. Like, my Walking Ballista's not doing anything for me here. I actually have multiple cards I want to play with, so I'm just gonna start shooting. Because I do actually believe we're favored in the long game. We're going to draw way more cards than opponent is. Although they have some nice filtering going on. As soon as this Escanta flips, we're kind of in trouble. Yep, there's the Teferi, as expected. And we don't actually have a great way to answer them. Like, I get to destroy him with Neugin, but that's not coming down this turn, and they're likely going to be holding up several relevant cards. Mine is okay, though, so that puts me at 5 mana. I don't think I did that correctly. Yes, I did. Still not good enough, though. Okay, so I can Aether Grid, but not do anything. I can Lab Man. I think I'm on Aether Grid. Honestly, if this sticks around, it means that Teferi has to minus on it. Really makes V-Click bad, makes Snapcaster fairly bad, although we've already seen 2 of them. And they don't have K-Command to buy it back. Opponent's betting lands. Also has an active Teferi, but our last opponent had an active Jace for like 4 turns. I'm also trying to figure out the value of this Mind Stone at this point. If I can slam an Neugin, I'm great, but I need to hit a land drop for that. If I hit Tron, I'm pretty happy, but Field of Ruin's still around. Okay, that means I have to actually keep the Mind Stone. Opponent's still representing a Cryptic Command, though. This deck is so weird. And I play weird decks. Like, I play super weird decks. So I'm 1 mana off of Archmage and Mind Stone, which means I can Mind Stone into Archmage, or I can Mind Stone into Labman. I can also start pinging things, so first things first, let's do this. See what opponent wants to do, because this is technically representing a half a damage every turn. And that's a weird assortment of colors. Logic not for 5. Yeah, that's fine. You got it, opponent. That's one thing not pointed at Neugin. So I can Lavman. Yeah, I think I'm just on Labman. I actually need to pressure them into doing something. And this is a bear. It also means that if I can Neugin and Archmage at some point, like I end up drawing into Tron, then I can just win. Yeah. By all means, spend your counter magic on the Laboratory Maniac, not harming anybody. You did right by me, Labman. Although that's getting a little scary. Opponent's binning another mana leak. His Kanta's active, which is actually super bad for us. And they have another surge. Okay, so time is running out. But land into Neugin is still live. Check to see if they still have counter magic. Alright, so that pause there was them about to activate his Kanta and untap. So they clearly have something that they want to do. I think I'm giving this the 2 turns to Neugin back to back. See if it sticks. If neither Neugin sticks, we can move on with our life. Yep. You have a Cryptic. We are very dead, but a Neugin sticking can technically get us back into it, as we saw last round. And this means opponents out of gas when they're doing this main phase. It means that they actually actively need a card. And they only found a Lightning Helix. They do get activate again, though, and they still have up Cryptic mana, so again, fading pretty quickly. That relic is so cute. Alright, let's see what you got. We move it on? Alright. So, Antiquities War comes back in. Storm the Vault comes out. This is just a cute, like, I put a lot of random fun ofs in my decks. Witchbane Orb against Jeskai is a lot more relevant, but honestly, I kind of just want to combo off. I think last time we just trimmed on a Mind Stone. I like being able to sack Mind Stone. Let's make it a Prism. To be fair, though, I do not want to play round 4 against another blue-white control list. That's not what our deck wants to play against. We want to play against the opponents that stumble and have nothing to deal with us. Antiquities War making our Signets and Spheres and random jank 5/5s is so cute. It's literally been 2 Jeskai and a blue-white. Jeskai's a little bit more of a creature control list, and seeing as our creatures are the only things that allow us to draw cards, I feel like that makes this significantly worse for us. I feel like I have to keep this. It has lands, it can almost cast the Archmage, but I want to start off with some cantrips first. That last game we did start off with just 2 Cascade Bluffs and got stuck. Yeah, we can keep this. I don't need another one. I think this is more correct. If there's any Tron players out there, you can correct me, but I'm pretty sure if you top deck a Tron piece here, you just want to have Tron active. And I might need to use this Chromatic Star to filter into the Cascade Bluffs for Jorah, so... Since I didn't find the other Tron piece, I'm running out the cantrips. I'm still at least 2 turns off from this, so I probably wanted to have this as the cantrip effect, but opponents still probably got all the different bolts in their deck, so not overly psyched about that one. Just sticking Antiquities War here with all these artifacts out will probably win us the game. Alright, and I'm trying to cover information here, so I'm going to go get a tower and play the tower. If opponent has a Field of Ruin on deck, they're going to target the tower with it, but they're going to assume that we don't quite have the power plant yet, since I did Cascade Bluffs and then tutored this piece. And since we're going to have Tron, I'm just going to cycle these guys. We could technically take the Antiquities War route here, but we'd only have like 10 damage on the field. Whereas like we actually have all the pieces to start going off. Oh, that was incorrect. I was supposed to leave 1 so I could pay for Antiquities War. But opponent can currently logic not for 3, 4. And I don't have any colored sources because I didn't leave a sphere around. Alright, well, if you have Logic Knot, you get them. You also showed us Mana Leak last game, but you'll get them. Alright, they have Disdainful Stroke as well. Apparently they thought that we had Cryptics in the colorless deck. So that was a mistake. I really needed to keep at least 1 of these around. I thought it would be better to cantrip, but I cantripped into all blue spells. Relic's fine, though. I'm going to land a Relic, just cycle it away. Opponent actually might need to counter this. Actually, I can't cycle this yet. I need to keep their graveyard off for his Kanta and be able to pop it whenever they go for a Snapcaster Mage. So opponent should not be countering this. It's not high enough relevance. It turns off future plays for them, but it's not... Their graveyard doesn't matter. Unless they snap, bolt, snap us. Or bolt, snap, bolt. I don't know why I always say that backwards. Wow, they're tanking hard on this one. Alright, I want a single colored source. It can be temporary. I just want a single one. Again, Opt is probably higher value, so it should hit the graveyard, but if for whatever reason they don't want to exile Opt, I don't want to give them the option. And I'm definitely looking at this hand like it might have been more correct just to cycle the Relic and look for a blue source, because blue source would have let me run out anything in my hand. It's correct to float here. The only thing I can do is relic, but it's still correct to float. Thank you for the blue source, opponent. And I guess I leave relic around. Alright, so opponent's showing me mana leak again. Or logic knot. Essentially the same thing. First things first, exile part of their graveyard. I can pop this if I'm expecting logic knot. But I think for now, it's usually correct to run out the legendary version of the creatures with the same effect. Jorah will draw a card also off of the Antiquities War, but if I draw my other Jorah, then I want to make sure that I have this one removed so I can run it out. Interesting. Alright. So, do you have the Helix? The Bolt? The Path? Do you let me keep her? You don't let me keep her. Yep. Bye, Jorah. Alright, so opponent still hasn't missed a land drop, but they have plenty of action in hand just from the way that they're playing. I'm still going to just try to control their graveyard and run out kind of meaningless drops. Like, Antiquities War here is a ton of value for us, but it's not the card that we care about actually resolving. Here it's most correct to have Tower up. That's why I was fiddling with my lands. This couldn't produce any colored sources on its own, and if I did happen to have the Tron piece, this would give me 3 pieces. Dovin's Veto. Alright, so opponent's going super deep. But opponent has me under no pressure, and I have cards that all do things, and eventually I have enough synergy that if I can get 2 of them at the same time, I'm happy. I'm also going to hit a breaking point where I have a ton of mana again. Yeah, you are not getting that, my friend. Alright, so if I resolve this Archmage, this Mind Stone's going to be nice. Search can come down at any point in time. Opponent's representing Cryptic Command. And there's all my mana. Alright, so filter into double blue. Archmage. Resolve, please. I'd love it if you resolved. Opponent's got to be running out of counters. Yay! Guys, we did it! Now you're going to bolt it? Yeah, you're going to bolt it. For shame, opponent. Why won't you let us have fun? We're playing Storm and Tron. What's not to love about that? Alright, no colored sources in Tron active. They might be squatting on a Field of Ruin, but still just going to cycle this. This allows us to Antiquity War, and they didn't show us a counter spell. That does not allow me to Antiquity War. So I can run out Labman as a generic beater. Check to see if they have a bolt. Man, I need 1 more mana. Alright, I'm just going to run out Labman. I'd rather get my cycling on and try to draw into something a little more relevant like that. If this resolves, I get to go get Arch of Araska and just get a ton of card advantage. Although, there might have been an argument there for me to hold on to that, so that if they did blow up a Tron piece, I could just go get a replacement. I already have a mine in hand. They've seen another mine, so they're actually probably going to go after the mine if they target anything. But this Arch is going to not be active. It was so much easier to have that active in goldfishing. This might not be a good card for this deck. Originally, I had Desolate Lighthouse in here, but didn't like the discard effect. But when I was comboing off, I had plenty of lands to discard. But opponents have been interacting. They've been playing control. Alright, Redundant Power Plant is fine. So, Arch first. Antiquities War? Oh, I misplayed. I was supposed to get double blue off of that. I was getting excited to Antiquities War. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Walking Ballista is great here. Ugh. How greedy do I get? Do I leave up enough for Mana Leak, or do I leave up enough for Logic not for 5? I can run it out as a 1-1 and win the Mana War. I think I'm just going to be super, super cautious with this and do it for 2. This is a really conservative play, but they did show us Mana Leak. Or they just had the Cryptic. I feel like you Cryptic Antiquities War, not the 2-2 Walking Ballista. Because this just cantrips into the best of 5. This is a threat stapled to Ancient Stirrings. Alright, and it might just be because we played against white decks and I want an answer for Stony Silence and Damping Sphere, but being green for Ancient Stirrings and Nature's Claim does feel relevant. It just feels super close to traditional Tron at that point. Alright, Prophetic Prism isn't great, but it's a thing. And I still don't even have the City's Blessing. Huh. Alright, so I'm going to run out the Power Plant here. It's weak to drawing a tower and having mine get blown up, or I guess both of them blown up, but this is going to make them feel like they can still target mine if they end up trying to Field of Ruin us, where this is just us hitting City's Blessing. We do have a mine in exile. Them not knowing about the second one in hand is really hard for them to justify not hitting the mine. Do you have another Spell Snare? Or a random card that's mildly relevant? I'm one turn off of making all the treasures 5/5s. One turn. I am so confused about opponent's sequencing here. I mean, this isn't going to do anything overly relevant, but it let me hit the City's Blessing to Arch of Araska, and this drew 2 cards. I don't know what's going on. And I think I actually make this trade. Labman's not going to get me very far, and 2 damage can add up against the burn deck. Yeah, that didn't do anything. But we're drawing so many cards a turn. Look at all those card draws. Walking Ballista is going to wait until a turn that we have mana. Although Colonnade's going to be attacking in next turn. Yeah, I'm really close to just slamming a giant Walking Ballista and killing an opponent with it, so when I can make this more than a 2-2, it's going to be massive. If opponent puts anything in graveyard, they're flipping Search for his Kanta. Okay. Of note, Disdainful Stroke won't hit a 2/2 Walking Ballista. Alright, so we did next level the opponent here. They hit our mine. We don't have another land to get, but that's fine. Whereas if we ran out this mine, they would have hit the tower. This Sculptor's not necessarily free, but he only costs 1. So 10 leaves up 3 for Mana Leak. And did you draw another... Oh. Nope. 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 Cancel. There we go. That's how we want to do it. He costs 1 less, I know that. Snapcaster for Cryptic, makes sense. Funny enough, though, that's going to slow them down from flipping their search if they don't just bin whatever is on top. Man, these control matches are so draining. I have such a bad deck for this. I probably should have been able to see that read and actually just leave up the 2 more mana for Arch of Vraska to draw. Yeah, so opponent has to basically bend anything on top but a Planeswalker. Flip there's Kanta. Yep, there's the Logic Knot. Then they can start activating it. It is worth noting, though, they've drawn off of Opt, all the Cryptic commands, all the recasts, and we're still ahead on cards. We've been able to keep up with opponent. Yeah, that's fine. Ethereum Sculptor wasn't doing anything. That's just 1 less removal spell directed at something that actually combos. Joyra is an interesting one. So first things first, card advantage. Second thing, Joyra. If they don't have a counterspell, we at least get a draw off the Mind Stone. Although, filter lands on Magic Online are a thing to do. Oh, frickin' A. Come on, deck. I've been playing against Control for 3 rounds in a row. You can give me a break and actually just pay for my mana. Snapcaster into Cryptic Command, so that makes 4 Cryptic Commands cast against us this game. And then because this will cantrip off of basically 3 of the other creatures in our deck, I'm going to just draw a card off with Arch of Vraska. We're taking 8 next turn off the Colonnade and the Snapcasters, though, and they're technically a burn deck, so this is going downhill quite quickly. And I actually want to Arch now just in case I find a Tron land. Oh, I can't. Okay. So, Island? For some reason, I thought that was a tower. And there's an Archmage. So, if we get to untap, we have a shot of winning. It's going to require really good running, though. But this Colonnade's going to be a 4/4. And they're not even activating it. So, they have gas in hand. Alright, well, let's go ahead and Archmage. Opponent has to have some amount of interaction, otherwise they would have attacked with Colonnade. Not what I wanted to do. Oh well. Cantrip. into a land. We get a draw card. Sculptor is technically a draw, so Sculptor comes down. We get a redraw. Artifacts are significantly less, which actually lets us start comboing off. Ooh, Aether Grid does something, but don't have mana for it. So go ahead and cycle that. Star? Sphere? Sphere, I think, does it. So that's free. Cantrips, another Aether Grid doesn't really cover it, but this will give us red. Free Sphere. This is what our deck wants to do, is the actual comboing part here. If we could run that out, we'd be drawing 2 cards for every free star or sphere. We don't have our Lab Maniac anymore, so that is worth noting. But in the meantime, this comes down. I get block a Snapcaster and ping it. Oh, now you have the mana leak? No? I don't know what opponent's squatting on. They've got to be activating this as Kanta if they don't have any action. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll pass. If your plan was Dovin's Veto and we're getting that low on mana, you probably should have activated his Kanta first, figure out if you could double counter. Ooh, Molten Rain. Alright, so that means I'm on double block duty. Otherwise, Colonnade, 2 Snapcasters, and a Molten Rain. If anything gets through, I die. Or if they just have the Bolt. Okay, yeah, we're dead. So, Snap, Bolt, they end up having 10 damage on the table, 2 in hand. After all that, dude, opponent, you had it. You should have just gone for it. To be fair, we're playing a super janky deck with a bunch of random cards in it that don't really do anything productive, but when you're the control deck, you're super far behind on clock and you have a guaranteed win in hand, you should just really be pulling the trigger to go for it. They could have even just done Molten Rain, Snap, Molten Rain, and dealt 4 damage to our face and killed us with the flyer in the air, so another reason to Kanta before you start figuring out what you actually have mana for. Building this deck, though, felt like taking Storm and Tron and making them do kissy faces at each other, singing the KISS song, and it turned out to be a unique hybrid. It was a ton of fun to Goldfish, but we've literally had three. That's how out of it I am after those 3 matches. We're an hour and a half in. 3 control matches. And our 0-2 4 mana and our 3-3 4 mana don't really bode well against a Lightning Bolt. But we did win another die roll. We have most of Tron. We have cantrips, color. I like it. And out you go. I remember reading a post on Reddit a while back, and it looks like it's Dredge, so we're going to be super slow for Dredge. A little bit of a slow start. I can Flagrate is nasty, though. We can draw into Relic. That's not a Relic. Alright, well, I'm more concerned about hitting my land drops here, so I'm going to Prism. Izzet Signet's also acceptable, just because it would actually give us our 3 mana next turn, but we are almost to our combo. The Tron land would actually probably win us the game next turn. Come on, Tower! Tower off the top is Neugin. Huh. Opponent just drew 4 cards. So, I did mention they had a little bit of a slow start. Oh, G-Burn, there's still actually one after this. Or I guess Drunk Magic, whatever you want to be called. Alright, so Aether Grid can hit the Blood Gas. If I have multiple artifacts, I can take out the prized amalgams. It doesn't really feel like winning. Antiquities War could actually kill them on a backswing. Witchbane can stop Conflagrate. Lodestone Golem, if I get up to it fast enough, can just shut them out of the game because they don't play a ton of lines. Or lands. Oh my gosh, I'm so out of it. Galvanic Blast. Killing their threats is not a winning line, but if you can keep their graveyard in check and kill their threats, it's fine. I only have 2 relics. I figured relic mainboard was probably good enough to still win like this. I mean, Walking Bliss is going to be doing the same thing that the extra Aether Grid's going to do. Witchbane Orb is only if the game goes long enough. I think we're just running it back. Like, we want our opponent to do absolutely nothing until like turn 4, turn 5, and if we had a good draw, we'll win. Or if we can draw it out long enough and then just hit Tron and overpower them with big mana. And this has natural Tron and cantrips. All it's missing is a relic. Some Tron player's probably going to watch this and be like, dude, you had the most busted hands and you ended up playing a Prophetic Prism. But we don't do good magic here. We do fun magic. And this is when Storm and Tron Kissy face each other. Alright, so rule of thumb is always run out your most protected piece of Tron. I'm going to try to bluff that Power Plant is the card that we have multiples of until the foreseeable future. We only have 1 of each, but Tower taps for 3, so I'd prefer to have multiples of it, and then it's just a guess between these two, and Power Plant lost. You're the sacrificial lamb, buddy. Sorry, had to cough. Alright, Cathartic Reunion dredges a Stinkweed Imp, hits a Creeping Chill, and apparently not another dredge target, so that's pretty good. The Narcomoeba was in their opening hand, which means that it's not coming back. That would have been nice last turn. So I'm going to try to Prophetic Prism here because a threat will win us the game. And if I have to actually scry with the treasure map, then I won't be able to cast Neugin if I draw into him. Alright, that Walking Bliss is fine. I guess it also would have been correct to run out Mind Stone there, so I had 8 mana for this Walking Ballista. I don't actually know if that's the correct call or not, but having a 4/4 Walking Ballista feels really relevant when they have a 3/3 potentially coming back. Alright, so they're flashing back Faithful Saluting, no dredge targets. They're going to put Stinkweed Imp back, as well as probably one of their natural draws. Yep, the Narcomoeba. So, hoping for a relic off the top? Nope. Alright, so since I can't make the relevant 4/4 Walking Ballista, I think I'm just going to go for Mind Stones here. There's probably better sequencing, but I'm not in the headspace to be doing it at the moment. Basically, there's a way to get deeper into the cards, and I could potentially be scrying and cantripping into them better. But just want to find a relic. Didn't find one, but this is an engine start going off, so next turn I'm going to be doing fun busted things. And we committed a respectable board here. Like, opponent could potentially have Shatterstorm. Alright, so they did find Ancient Grudge. And they have Conflagrate in the yard. So they can Conflag for 5, that's not really lethal. Opponent's been very unlucky. But that's what we need to win games with, Stormtron. Kissy Kissy. Kissy Kissy. Conflagrate for 2. Discarding Stinkweed. They are desperate. They are so desperate. Treasure map was the target. Can we get that in writing, someone? Dredge opponent actually respected the treasure map in Modern. I guess I don't need that stop anymore. Expedition map is actually going to net us the same amount of mana that we put into it, so it's not the correct play here. Yes, this is Tron Storm. So if we take a really quick look at the deck, we basically have a bunch of cantripping colorless artifacts. We use Neugin to reduce their cost to 0, and then we have Joyra and the Vidalcan Archmage. So whenever we cast one of these artifacts, we draw a card. Then we can reduce the cost, but basically cantrip through our deck, and then get a giant walking ballista, mill ourselves with Laboratory Maniac, or just put out a ton of artifacts and ping our opponent to death. This is Tron Storm. We put them together and say Kissy Kissy, and this is what comes out. We did actually steal a game versus Blue-White Control, but Jeskai has been a little painful for us. Those were our other 2 matches. So I am going to run out the Cascade Bluffs here. Gonna filter it into blue. Use the blue to filter into blue-blue. Put out the Archmage. Because comp leagues, you don't get nearly as much back, and I am paying for this out of pocket, including cards at this point. If we get sponsored by Card Hoarder, I can consider doing comp leagues at that point, but for the given moment, I kind of would prefer to keep my money. Oh, opponent. Opponent, sorry. We got there. We found it. This might be a concession, but we are comboing now. So we get a draw off of the Relic. Relic enters. We get to clear their graveyard. And we officially bumped up to 2-2 with Tron Storm. Kissy Kissy. Yeah, but if you lose everything. And I was honestly expecting to, tonight, Bell and go do Narset Cannon when this didn't work out. But hey, I am king of the 2-3 bracket right now, and the 2-3 bracket is saying Tron Storm actually went 2-3, so that means it's kind of viable for an FNM if you just want to go and have some fun with friends. I am all over that. So, Drunk Magic, you're telling me that I should probably run 2 Ugins? I was starting at 4, thinking it was very, very relevant to this strategy, and I trimmed down to 3. I think I need the 4. Ugin just reducing the cost of all of our artifacts by 2 is insanely relevant, and our Ethereum Sculptors reducing by 1 hasn't actually panned out, and being a creature, it's so much easier to remove him. I don't know. I think green does have a home in here, though. I think being able to Ancient Stirrings is needed. Hey, we got Tron again. We got the Tron again. And we're even going to have a protected Tron. Ooh, is that the new Flametongue Kavu art? I didn't realize they did new art for him. I just still see these 2 guys. I see this one and the old Plains Chase one. Oh, Flametongue Kavu is a fantastic card. So, opponent is looking like Burn, or potentially Sun and Moon. So, if it's Burn, we are shafted beyond belief, and I almost always play Burn in round 5. I'm going to lead off with my Power Plant, make it look like the weak piece again. No. I did an Expedition map. I got distracted by the Flametongue Kavu. Alright, well, a punt's a punt. So we get a Walking Ballista, Expedition map. I'm not reading Land Destruction, so I'm going to follow the same line as last time, and that's Prophetic Prism into hopefully an Ugin. And honestly, that's fine. If next turn I just Ethereum Sculptor, I can dump my hand, so... In fact, I could have Ethereum Sculptor and dumped my hand there. I'm all over the punts tonight. Alright, so opponent's not looking like Burn. They're looking like Sun and Moon, which means they're probably going to Blood Moon me here, and it's going to feel absolutely horrendous. Let's go ahead and just Izzet Signet. We can filter into Ethereum Sculptor. Run that into a free expedition map, into a free chromatic sphere. Now they helix it? Okay. So I can walkie B for 2, or I can just hold up the expedition map. I currently have 5, 6, 7 permanents, which means that Arch of Vraska next turn and Walking Ballista is not City's Blessing. Oh, and I'd be sacking this to get the Arch of Vraska anyway. So I think I'm just shipping it back. A Walking Ballista would be able to kill a Eidolon if they hit red, though. I don't know. What does chat think? Walking Ballista? I kind of like keeping an artifact in hand in case I draw into a Joyra. Actually, why don't I just cycle into it now? Okay, that's another power plant, which means I get to sack this. I have a lot of redundant pieces in hand, so let's just go ahead and get the Arch of Vraska so I can start drawing in case I whiff on my combo. And honestly, not a bad turn 3. You want me to clip that turn 3? There's the Blood Moon. Alright, well, I have an island and I have red mana, so... Oh, I also have a filter. Brad One, have you not been watching any of my videos? I literally do stupid stuff to do stupid stuff. Like a Tron deck on turn 3 not using Expedition Map for a Tron land is like my wheelhouse. It's seriously just what I do. Alright, so this is a Archmage. I mean, it's not like we're even close to Blue Tron either. This is a Walking Ballista primarily to draw a card. That is a Neugin. That is the Neugin and Neugin Tron Storm. I don't have anything to draw with here, but I can even blow up the Blood Moon. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry, opponent, but this is how I like to play. Although, I'm probably just going to blow up Chandra. That feels most right. That actually is fine. Bye. I mean, you were a combo piece, but... Kissy Kissy Tron, do I need to rename the deck? Alright, and I am afraid opponent has something for this. Most of the time this deck ends up running Sorcerer's Spyglass, but it's just as risky in hand. Kissy Kissy Tron. Kissy Kissy Tron. Now, if I actually blow up the Blood Moon, I'll get City's Blessing and start drawing 2 cards a turn, although Neugin will die to a bolt, so... I don't know. We're winning on board. Nahiri? I mean, what'd you even go for? Yeah, you just loot? It's not a great Nahiri. Discarding Boom Bust. You're close to wanting to Boom Bust, but I'm ahead on board state somehow. Yeah, I think it's time. Although, I want to kill Nahiri first. No, that doesn't work because I have to plus the Walking Ballista. So let's blow that guy up. I get to Power Plant. Go to combat. We get to send everything at Nahiri. So the reason I blew that up before combat is that I can actually plus Walking Ballista with all the additional mana. I punted there. I was trying to describe my line. And then, if they tried to remove a creature, I'd still have enough mana to actually kill her. Instead, I have to do it that way, but we're so far ahead, I don't even remotely care. And then I get to draw off the Arch. I kind of want to keep this in hand since I already have a mana reducer, and I'm expecting Neugin to die here pretty soon. I am still currently holding up enough to buff the Walking Ballista at end step. Yeah, I do deserve that punt. I do. Wrath of God? Okay. Another reason to not run out the Ethereum Sculptor. Ping. Ping. And this Neugin's going back to hand, so even if they find a way to kill Neugin, I get another one. Free Izzet Signet. I love Neugin. It was probably correct to plus Neugin first, but it honestly didn't matter. Opponent would have killed Neugin if they had the ability to. I get to start drawing into my combo pieces, and that actually was a misplay because Izzet Signet would have been able to draw a card if I drew it into either of my historic draws. Free Relic, why not? I have no intent on of running out this Walking Ballista this turn. Free Mind Stone. I have to filter to get my mana. Whatever. I have the mana. I'll just run him out. I don't think Neugin's going anywhere, and even if he does, I have another one in hand. Another Nahiri. Opponent, we're drawing 2 cards a turn. You have a Nahiri that's not long for the earth. Well, sounds like we're not done. Alright, so back at it. This time around I'm going to sequence correctly. Although, let's draw a card. Not tap them for mana. Another Neugin. I'm not going to be sad to see Neugin. And there's a Joyra. So, filter. Joyra comes down. Free Prophetic Prism. Draw a card. And this is how we storm. Free Mind Stone. We still haven't even made our land drop yet. Okay, so this means I actually have to run out the colorless land. Sack the Mind Stone. Free Relic. Draw off of Joyra. Free Treasure Map. Draw off of Joyra. Free Chromatic Star. I think you get the point. Lab Man is gone, though, which means I'm basically just going to try to hit a little bit of a critical mass here and then kill opponent. So I have Walking Ballistas that don't really do anything. May as well scry. Don't care about the Chromatic Star. I can pop the Relic. Honestly, don't care. In the meantime, let's just attack opponent because this Walking Ballista is going to come down and basically kill them. I might have needed to hit Nahiri for 1. If they Sorcerer Spyglass and name Walkie B, whatever. So this is going to cost 3 less. We may as well make a 2/2. We'll draw. Free Chromatic Star. Yeah, Nahiri, you don't get an alt this turn. And Kissy Kissy. Kissy Kissy. Opponent's just looting away lands. I get to smack opponent for a ton, run out Walking Ballista and kill him. Yeah, okay, so that's the game. Opponent is on Blood Moon. They are on Sun and Moon. So Witchbane Orb is mildly relevant. It looks like they're doing the Nahiri Emrakul win. Hurkyl's Recall could get rid of an Ensnaring Bridge, but we already have Labman as our primary win condition. We have Walking Ballista as one of our primary win conditions. Opponent should actually be on Leyline, though, which turns Walking Ballista off. Neugin can actually hit Leyline. It can't hit Ensnaring Bridge, though. Aether Grid's going to actually be a little bad here if they actually do have Leyline. Antiquities War won't do anything through the Ensnaring Bridge. Lodestone Golem's just going to die to a bolt. Galvanic Blast doesn't actually target anything of relevance. I guess it could technically hit a Planeswalker for 4. But Nahir's going to come down with 4 and probably plus. Chandra's going to come down with 4 and probably plus. Elspeth, I can't imagine they keep Elspeth in. But I think Elspeth comes down with either 4 or 5 and pluses. So none of that's relevant. I think we just run it back. We're fairly well suited for the slow deck that doesn't do a whole lot. I'm concerned about something like a Narset that makes it so we can't draw multiple cards, or a Rule of Law. Stony Silence is going to be a pain, but when they're not actually applying pressure themselves, it doesn't matter. We have a Cantrip Engine. We don't necessarily need a reduction yet. We just need a way to hit lands, and I think we've got enough. Turn 2 Stony Silence or turn 1 Stony Silence is bad, though. I also kind of need to find a basic island, not high priority, but kind of high priority. We have the Izzet Signet and the Prophetic Prisms and all that stuff. Yeah, I cast the map this time. Yep. As expected. So Neugin's basically our only answer to that. I could have brought in Hurkyl's Recall. That would have just bounced all the artifacts, but that's not overly productive. Essentially, if this Archmage sticks and I can still run out these 1-2 CMCs, I'll draw through my deck and find the answer for Stony Silence. Or, just casual Ugin. I kind of want to keep all of these things, so I'll just get in with my little Mog Fanatic. They're not activatable, which just means that they're card draw targets. I also don't have colored sources. Yeah, I probably needed to try harder to Stony Silence metagame, but my sideboard is just random stuff. I think that's why I had the Antiquities War in there. This deck was half a concept. I just said Kissy Kissy and let's run with it. Alright, that is a Chandra. Okay, second one going away makes me a little happy. That is 4 mana. If I had a way to generate blue, I could Archmage. Sorry, I had another coughing storm. So land into Ugin is just quite fantastic, although they're going to have to answer this Walking Ballista. Them getting pseudo card advantage or pinging us every turn is actually super relevant, but if we do just see land, it's not going to do anything. That will slow us down quite a bit. They get to tap down our lands. They can also Lightning Helix the Walking Ballista. Yep, Sun and Moon is king of the sideboard cards. They get significantly better postboard. Blue land? Not a blue land. They didn't do anything with the Johnny? Okay, well, they get a punt. If you guys are counting my punts, they get a punt. Do 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 do. Oh. Garrett, that punt doesn't go to me. That punt goes to opponent. Alright, so in 2 turns, it can ult both these planeswalkers. If I get blue-blue, I can Archmage, but one of them is ulting and I'm losing the game, so yeah, we're not coming back from this one. Being on the play should help a lot. I think I just need the Aether Grids because of Stony Silence. This was the other reason that they're in there. I can still run out all my artifacts and still ping things, and I can keep Planeswalker's loyalties in check. Storm the Vault actually feels awful here. I probably should have made that cut. So this will just get Blood Mooned away. I guess it can technically give me treasures, but I'm not attacking for the most part. This just seemed like a fun card, especially for Storm Tron. And this was super relevant in playtesting. I could just get a ton of mana and dump it into a Walking Ballista. I'd like to play fast. That's my color. The opponent also had a turn 1 Stony Silence. The Simian Spirit guided into it. Alright, well, I think I need more natural lands. That's not more natural lands. This will at least draw and fix my mana. I get a scry into a land. I get to start on a turn 1 expedition map. Alright, well, if they get the turn 1 Stony Silence again, they get it. The nice thing about this version of Tron is I can mulligan as low as I want to go. Because I don't actually care about having Tron until like the very end, and most of the time Neugin fixes all mana issues. We're just a colorless deck. Alright, there's my map. Do you have a turn 1 Stony Silence? It took you a while to decide to keep your hand. Opponent scried to the bottom off a 6. Not a turn 1 Stony Silence. Now, do I get a land? No land. Alright, well, about to get punished hard. They Stony Silence, I don't draw a land. Chalice on 1. Okay, that actually doesn't do much. Unless I cannot get my second land. If they Blood Moon us here, there's not much coming back. So if I can assemble Tron off my next land drop and the expedition map, then I can Neugin and everything's free. I can also blow up Stony Silence, Blood Moon, anything that comes down that I care about after that point. Okay. I mean, honestly, this fixes my mana. You typically don't want to run Field of Ruin in a Blood Moon deck. Although, you probably want to run more than 20 lands in a Tron deck. I think opponents got me on that one. Opponent hits 4 mana. That's basically where all their threats are at. They're probably going to minus on my expedition map. Alright, well, that might be a misplay. If I get a land drop, it means I get 2 land drops now. Although an ult in Nahiri is also a threat, so... yeah, alright, well, that's game. Looks like we lost most of our viewers. I'll make this short. Tron, Storm, Kissy Kissy. Do not like Damping Sphere. I have no way to remove it. I don't like Stony Silence. I basically only have Neugin to remove it and Gearport Aether Grid to get around it. I was hoping if we played against Sun and Moon or something along those lines and they had Stony Silence, they'd just be incredibly slow themselves. I could run out one of our cantripping, I'm going to call it a Lord. It's not a Lord, but basically Joyrah or the Archmage. So you can just slam those cheap artifacts or free artifacts, just draw through your deck. Lab Maniac, if your opponent's slow and not interacting with you, that seems fantastic. Oddly enough, I think this was close. Like, we played against Blue-White, and we put up a fight every game. We ended up losing them at the end or just straight up winning them. We didn't actually 1-2 them at all, but we went for at least 20 minutes on both clocks. Like, we put up a fight, we stuck around, we had must-answer threats, we ended up having some inevitability on the top end. Artifact reliability is rough and modern because of all the hate pieces, but Neugin is a really good card when you're literally drawing 2 cards off of every free spell. So this might not be the best variant of it. Again, I kind of just sat down and played with it. It was a lot harder to get the Arch of Araska's City's Blessing than I expected. I originally had Loot House, but Loot House felt like it was going to be really hard to get the blue-red to loot into. I also had more Cascading Bluffs, I had Basic Mountains. I even considered running Blood Moon in the Tron Storm deck, which just felt hilarious, but I mean, we already had a moderately rough go of it with just Tron and Storm Kissy Kissy, and you never want to bring a friend. That just causes drama, and yeah. Well, Prism, awkward card. Our creatures getting removed always feels like a problem with these fun strategies. Is like, I can invest 4 into a Joyrah and I can replace her, but she's dying to a lightning bolt the turn that she comes down. Jeskai definitely showed its power there. Blue-White not being able to answer as easily, or potentially just letting us get a land and replacing her was fine. Aether Grid felt slow. Walking Ballista was just blowouts out of nowhere if you actually set up enough mana for it. A lot of cantripping, a lot of going deep. You need answers that green supplies, so you might need to look at Teamer, but that means Nature's Claims, potentially Agent Stirrings, and we're already taking the base of Tron and weakening it. Like, this doesn't have a long-term spot, but Kissy Kissy, it was fun. And I think that's all I've got to say about it. Like, if I know there are a couple of punts in there, but if you have any fun comments or fun ways to take this, I'd be interested to hear them. I wouldn't mind running it back. I don't think it's competitive, but it's at least fun enough to make them go Kissy Kissy and try to take 2 unfair strategies most people hate and kind of just see like, we made a mutant hybrid between the 2. Look at him. His name's Steve. But yeah, Neugin could potentially be a good combo enabler. And thanks for watching. Good night.